What's fun? Yeah, no, did you? No.
Just can't get up.
Thank you, James.
So there's nothing we can do to pre-record or anything?
Not at the moment, because we're waiting for a piece.
Yeah, we're just waiting for the call to the max.
Just watch and learn. So Gavana on 3. So Gavana's on 29. So towards it. So that's okay, we can... All the stuff we normally talk about, we'll just fit in during the...
Yeah, I looked at it. They're Gaston. And that's only the first that they take everybody else.
Journalistic career?
It goes on his own.
Tony!
You hear it for a second.
Familiar enough with the light blue. The yellow is probably this. Hello, Ruth, how are you? Who scored for Belconnen?
Get Belconnen! Come on, Frank! Lift your game!
It's all right. No, I mean, set more stoppages than a union meeting.
Let's get off the park!
Yes.
This guy's up there.
Yeah, this
Don't know sign language, doesn't it?
Well, welcome to McKellar Park. I understand we've sorted our technical glitch and you can hear us now. Russ Gibbs, your commentator tonight for this match between Belconnen United and Tigers FC. Steve Forshaw's with me. Steve, we watched 20 minutes, I would say, of football, but there's been an awful lot of stoppages so far, so we've not really seen much in the way to talk about at the moment in terms of goal chances.
No, it's a game that's been littered with stoppages and has failed to really kick off. But perhaps now that everything's settled down and the commentary's underway, we might get some goals.
Well, they were just waiting for us. I think that's the probably the reason. We have seen one change already. Jack Miller is in goal for Tigers FC. He's come on for Francois Bangueni, who got a knock off a free kick, and that's curtailed his evening. Looking at the sides, which we'll go through in just a second, Miller's in goal for the Tigers. They have four across the back, a very young-looking backline: Jared Tonini, Brad Moore, Tony Spaseski and Aidan Pinney. Three in midfield: Nico Haradimos, Michael Keita and Koran Josifowski. And Nico Abbott, Thomas James and Mark Shields up front. Three very good strikers, plenty of goals there, but at the moment they haven't really got them in the game, have they?
No, it's been a 20-minute period that's probably been dominated by the home team. The experience for Cooma, or the Cooma Tigers tonight, is up front, and they'll be relying on those guys to create some chances for them if they're going to get anything out of this game. But at the moment, Belconnen are on top.
This is Liam Marzi, who's lost possession to Keita, but Cam Reinhardt's won it back. I'll run you through the Belconnen team. Finn Durak's in goal. They have four at the back: Zach Mabry, Matt Gerbischer, Isaac Clements and Cam Reinhardt. Taylor Beaton in the holding midfield role, Goran Mukeski and Dustin Wells just in front of him. The front three: Jason Ugrinic, Daniel Fabrizio and Leo Marzi. And it's been Fabrizio, Marzi and Ugrinic that have caused what few chances we've had. Their pace and their movement causing the Tigers a little bit of problems. Keita had a knock earlier in the game and he's down again. He's been down 2 or 3 times, so maybe we're going to see the end of his afternoon as well, Steve, after only 22 minutes.
Yeah, this is not what Tigers would have been hoping for. It looks like they're having to go and make another enforced change. I mean, they were already suffering through injury and they've got an understrength team on the park, and they've lost another key midfielder. Pretty strong Belconnen lineup though, Russ. Over the last few weeks they've had a few players out missing through suspensions and injury, but this is near enough to the starting 11 that Dean Ugrinic would want to put on the park.
Well, as you said, in opposing to that, Michael Keita's afternoon's done as well. That's 2 of their substitutions done already. Daniel Nicoletti has come on into the middle of the park in place of Keita, which is unfortunate for the youngster who was playing quite well. That one swung into the area and is headed forward by Fabrizio. Miller comes to claim. Tigers missing Alan Gaston, Milan Popovic, Daniel Barak, Osman Fofana, Hussein Ferrej and Naul Guerrero. Of those who've played 10 or more games in the Premier League this year, so they are really down to the bare bones, and they really must win this one today to keep up their hopes of a top 4 finish after the results that we had earlier this afternoon, which we'll talk about a little later. Here's Reinhardt looking for Wells, unmistakable in his Belconnen Blue Devils blue boots there. Dustin Wells to Taylor Beaton. Skips inside the challenge of Josifowski and finds Ugrinic out on the flank. 20 league goals this season for Ugrinic, who drives it at goal. The keeper spilt it. In goes Fabrizio. It's going to come loose for Ugrinic again. Across the face of the area. Now down goes under the challenge. Which I think that was Ugrinic who went under the challenge, was it? And it may have been a penalty. And that one's been waved away there. So it was obviously a decent challenge. And here's the first time we've seen Shields as an attacking force, but he's given it away. Mukevski was who pulled the ball back to Ugrinic there, and Jason Ugrinic went down, and we've seen them given before. Yeah, it looked like a challenge slightly from behind, but I think the referee was in a good spot to actually make the correct decision, and he's waved play on. Yeah, referee Gareth Biggs today, assisted by Alex McConaughey and Nia Southwell. He's had a lively first half of the first half, hasn't he, Gareth Biggs? He's been involved in a few things, having to give a few decisions, and you can see judging by the demeanour of the Tigers bench, how important this one is, Steve. After Gungana won 3-0 this afternoon to put themselves in pole position for that top 4 spot, Tigers must win today, really, to keep up their hopes. Yeah, it has come down to that. It's a must-win situation for the Tigers. Belconnen, of course, are in the hunt for a genuine second-place finish, so there are going to be no pushovers. Well, there's an effort from deep, and it's going to drift away from goal, and that was Nicolas Abbott, who's really struggled to impose himself on the game, but the Argentinian certainly got the ability. For a moment it looked like it was going towards the goal, and then it faded badly, and Finn Durack just watched that one roll away before letting it go for a goal kick. A little bit ambitious from Nicolas Abbott there, I thought. Yeah, he's got Thomas James, like I said, and Shields in front of him, so he's got plenty of quality in that front third if they can get the ball up to them, but that's been the problem so far. Tonini's underneath this one, but he's not won it, and it's fallen for Fabrizio. Good strength there from Fabrizio, but Tonini comes across to take it off him, and Fabrizio snaps back at his heels, and Marzi gets involved too. And 3 young players there that not afraid to put themselves about.
Nice willing contest, that one's up.
To be a throw to Belconnen, still waiting for the first real opportunity of the game in the 25th minute. Here's a foul on Fabrizio. And Tonini, that's the 3rd or 4th time he's called him, and I think Daniel Fabrizio is letting the referee know that. And probably a last warning for Jared Tonini. Cam Reinhardt is going to take this free kick. Ugrinik and Makevsky creeping into the far post. Fabrizio on the centre, on the penalty spot, and in fact Reinhardt is going to leave this one for Dustin Wells. I've known Dustin Wells to take a decent free kick or 2 in his time, Steve, at this venue.
Yeah, he's very consistent with his dead balls and either directly shooting or feeding or servicing the penalty area.
Let's see what he can do with this one. Swings it into the near post, but it's headed away, and Shields helps it on towards James. Reinhardt's on his back, but James turns, goes forward and tries to get past the run of Marzi, who has tracked him back, and Shields is offside. And that'll be a free kick to Belconnen. Thomas James playing out on the left flank, obviously transferred to the Tigers from Canberra FC. Opportunity for him today to try and impose himself on this one, but hasn't been able to get hold of the ball so far.
I think it's the best avenue forward for Tigers, that defend deep and try and catch Belconnen on the break through James.
Clement sent that one forward. It's fallen for Wells. Good pressure by Abbott, and he's going to win his side of throw-in right on the halfway line, and he goes long for Shields, who's for a moment got away from Gerbischer, who comes across, and Shields looking to take on Matt Gerbischer, who does well. Abbott tries the spectacular volley, falls for Shields, and Abbott's in there again, and in the end Taylor Beaton's back to cover. That one's a bit short, but Wells takes his time, and it's thumped forward by Clements, but that's into no man's land, and we picked up at the back by Spaseski. Now James. No room for him to manoeuvre as Makevsky gives him no room, and Shields is after this, but Clements has come across to clear. So settling down a little bit now, Steve, after that frantic opening in which the Tigers couldn't get the ball.
No, they've grown into the game a little bit now. Thomas James is looking very, very good at the moment, and he's somebody that Belconnen are going to have to watch closely. But you get a contrast of styles here, don't you, with the more structured approach from Belconnen and a more fluent and open style by the Tigers.
Well, Tonini finds Haradimos. Goes to Jozefowski into midfield, and he luckily gets that back off of Beaton. Still going Goran Jozefowski, and wins himself a free kick. A little bit of a shirt pull from Beaton as he went past him, I think, and Haradimos will go short to Jozefowski. Now Abbott tries to play it through. In fact, gets a little ricochet and advances forward looking for Shields. And Belconnen, through a combination of a couple of players, hook that one clear up towards the middle of the park where Wells battles. Jozefowski picks up the loose pieces and slides it in towards James. He's going to get a second chance to do so, and James has space in which to work into the penalty area. Thomas James pulls it back. Jozefowski's in there. Chance perhaps for the Tigers. Here's Shields. The flag should be up, surely. And it is. Mark Shields just drifted into an offside position there, but the Tigers, for the first time in the game, looking dangerous.
Cut Belconnen up too easily from Dean Ugrinik's point of view. Thomas James finding far too much space down this right-hand side.
Well, they'll have to watch that one. As it is at the other end, here's Makevsky bringing it forward, and he's got acres of room in which to run. Comes short to Ugrinik. Wells. 2 Tigers snapping around his heels. It's going to fall for Ugrinik again, who slides it through. Fabrizio is offside, and that won't count. Decent finish from the young lad, but the flag went up very quickly. And good transition from Belco once they got it into attack.
It was, but the Tigers were playing in 2 lines. The midfield area was just wide open and afforded Belconnen miles too much space, and I'm sure something that Gabby Wilk will be looking at to fix up.
This Haradimos. Moore. Up towards Tonini, but he's overhit that. I was lucky enough to sit into the Belconnen team talk before kick-off. Steve Sting, you invited me into their video session, and that's one of the areas they recognised was that space in the midfield, which the Tigers like to flood when they go forward, and you can see straight away the way that Taylor Beaton's stopping them do that, and in the other way, in the transition where they can attack very quickly, Belco, there's opportunities for them.
Yeah, They can certainly get in behind the midfield three if they do things quickly.
Fabrizio wins himself a free kick against Brad Moore. He's done quite well, the young boy up front so far, Daniel Fabrizio.
He didn't play last week, he was injured, but the week, 3 or 4 weeks before that, he was by far and away Belconnen's most effective forward.
He's looking lively today. Clement's pass is slightly overhit, and Zach Mabry will pick that one up on the far side. Doesn't mind a run forward, does Mabry. Looking for Makevsky. Nice turn in the middle of the park. Back to Clements. Sweeps that one down towards Marzi. And a good header into the path of Reinhardt. Now Fabrizio gets away from Moore, looks for the free kick. Referee says no on that occasion. But Isaac Clements swept that one forward. Steve, he's been a good acquisition for Belconnen, hasn't he, from Canberra FC? Always a solid player. Yeah,
he's solid, if not spectacular. He's certainly been a tremendous asset to the defensive setup of Belconnen. He hasn't put a foot wrong when he's played.
He's going to have to do some defending here. Shields beats him to that, and here's a chance perhaps if James can get on the end of it, and he's managed to bustle away from his man. James shoots low and hard, and it's a spectacular diving save at the near post by Finn Durack. For a moment there, James got the better of Matt Gerbischer. No love lost between those two on that occasion, and James has struck it a goal, and it's a decent save from Durack.
A terrific save, terrific perseverance from James. Gerbischer needs to do better than that one-on-one.
Yeah, physically he's muscled out of that one, and that it's not like Matty Gerbischer, is it? He's usually a lot stronger on the ball than that. The corner will be taken by Abbott, it looks like. Jozowski's gone across with him, but Abbott's the one that's going to swing that into the penalty area. The header was aimed for Shields, but he didn't get a touch on it, and it's just smashed clear by Wells. And here's a chance, perhaps, they've trodden on the ball. It's 2-on-1, real opportunity here going forward for Ugrinik to get on the left foot, but he can't find the reverse pass, which he was trying to look for. Fabrizio had made the run, and that was an opportunity gone begging there for Belconnen. Here comes Abbott at the other end. It's opening up here. He's looking for Shields behind, but that Durack's going to get there. And I think maybe on that breakaway, Steve, Leo Marzi's pass was just a little bit too soon and a little bit under hit for Jason Ugrinik.
Yeah, and I just noticed, and Jason's got his right knee heavily strapped, and he didn't look to be striding out and all that comfortably. But yeah, the pass was just a little bit too soon and a little bit under hit.
From the youngster on the break, they've got opportunity gone for Belco. Here's Reinhardt. You get the feeling it won't be the last. It seems to be opening up this one. Feels like there's goals in this game. Jozowski just nudges referee Gareth Biggs off the ball. Comes to James. Haradimos, and he's lost control of it to Marzi, but he's won it back again. And James looks to take on Makevsky, and he wins a throw off of Cameron Beaton.
He's going to cause Belconnen trouble all over. If he's in the mood, this man's a match winner.
Well, he's floating, isn't he, at the moment? He's nominally placed on the match card as one of a front two, but he likes to drop deep, James, when he's not getting possession, and that's probably where he's best. He's running at players and causing problems.
Well, he's got electric pace and a great touch, so he's the sort of player that you put in the team and say, just go and play.
Well, here's Wells. Now Marzi. Let's come off the back of Wells. It's unfortunate as Fabrizio was on his bike. Brad Moore. He's ever hit that one again. Was looking for Shields. Apologetic there, the centre-back. Looking for the run in the channel. Maybe Mark Shields 5 or 6 years ago would have gone for that in the channel, but getting a bit old now, Shieldsy.
Yeah. That, even in his prime, he might have struggled to catch that one. It's interesting that Belconnen, when they're defending, and are playing rather square, and I think there's some joy to be had in behind the back four for the Tigers if they can get the right level of service.
Moore. Beaton's there as well. It's a bit scrappy, but Moore has it back again. Now Shields. Marzi comes in, and Moore's just cleaned him out on the way through there, and Marzi's not happy with that. And it's got to be a yellow card, you think, from Brad Moore. Don't think there was any malicious intent in that, Steve. It was just a completely mistimed challenge from the centre-back. Extremely clumsy, and proper yellow card, and a yellow card for the retaliation as well is probably deserved. Bit silly from Marzi to retaliate, because Moore was always going to be carded for that. As I said, I don't think there was anything malicious in the tackle, was there? It was just very poorly timed. Yeah. He's just struggling a little bit more. His distribution's been poor, and he's missed time to tackle, and he's probably out of position anyway. And I wasn't looking at Marzi then, but he got a card as well, did he, Steve? I was looking across at Moore as he was chucking him away. But Marzi, as you said, is carded for retaliation. And Reinhardt is over the free kick. looking for Fabrizio. Pini picks up the pieces. His pass forward is picked off though. And in the end, Taylor Beaton can start again. Gerbischer's ball forward to Ugrinik, and Beaton looks to switch it to this near side. It's a great ball too. Marzi brings it down, and Tonini comes in and just thunders into the challenge, and Reinhardt has some of that back as well, and Haradinamos comes away, and it's going to be a bit careful, these boys, at the moment. Feels like it's going to boil over at any second. Some of these challenges that are going in wholehearted and full-blooded as well, and the crowd getting involved too. Now his shields. Makevsky rolls that one across his body, wins himself a free kick against Nicoletti.
It's a really willing sort of game, particularly down the Belconnen left, where young Marzis is coming up against Tonini, who's giving him nothing.
Where's Reinhardt? Beaton. Wells. Foot in by Haradimos, falls for Beaton again. Neat and tidy Taylor Beaton. There's Reinhardt and Wells. Wonder how many games those three have played together at Belconnen. Cameron Reinhardt, Dustin Wells and Taylor Beaton. There'll be a fair few, I'd imagine.
Oh, you're well into the hundreds.
Each of them been here for a very long time. Each year you think they're going to pack it in. They kick up a gear and go on again.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, Taylor, Beaton and Cam Ryan are only just 30 now, 29-30 now.
Beaton sends that one forward, and Tonini has to be careful here, and here's that battle with Marzi again, and on this occasion Tonini's the winner. He's done well as an auxiliary right back, Jared Tonini, tonight. He's got his hands full with young Leo Marzi and the movement of Daniel Fabrizio too. Both of them willing runners and not shy of the physical aspect.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it's one of the things that you might tell a new fullback or somebody unfamiliar with the position, you know, put yourself about a bit and make sure they know you're in the game.
Well, Pini's read that really well. Now here's a chance for James. It's 2-on-2. Abbott gets up in forward. Shields makes the run towards the penalty spot. Still James slides it through, and that's a good foot in as well at the back by Clements. It needed to be, otherwise Abbott would have been in on goal, and that's going to leave them stretched at the back, but Clements' pass is intercepted by Haradimos, and here's Nicoletti to Haradimos. Back to Nicoletti. He's settled pretty well since he's come on. Nicoletti straight into it. Shields, chance here for Abbott. Maybe he's winding one up on the right foot, dips it towards goal, but it's always fading away of Finn Jurak's left-hand post and away for a goal kick. But sparkling times for the Tigers again, looking close.
Yeah, both teams guilty of letting the game become a little bit too stretched when they're in possession, and not closing the ball down near quickly enough.
Reinhardt brings it forward, clips one over the top, and that's a good run for Fabrizio on the back of Moore, who's defended well that time but almost gave it away. And Spaseski to Jozovovsky. They've worked that out nicely. Goran Jozovovsky, another one with masses of experience, been around this Tigers setup for a long time. Fairly
clear that the tactics from Tigers are going to be to get it into the front two as quickly as possible.
Makevsky, Mabry on the overlap. Three blue shirts to look for in the middle. Mabry goes past his man, pulls it back for Ugrinik. His snapshot just bounced off of a Tigers defender, and now we're off up the other end again. It feels a bit like basketball at the moment. Here's James, advancing into his stride and putting on the boots, accelerating, and Reinhardt's read it and intercepted, and off we go up the other end. He slides it through for Fabrizio. He's got away here. Real chance, but the flag's gone up, and Fabrizio for the second time has the ball in the net, but for the second time he will be disallowed, and for this time he's going to get a yellow card for kicking the ball away. A little bit harsh from the young striker, but he'll live and learn from that one.
Yeah, it's one of those rules that a little pedantic perhaps, but nonetheless you're not allowed to do that.
I have no problem if he puts it in the goal, Steve. I've always said if they're going to go around the keeper and chance their arm that with the yellow card, if they miss, it should be a definite yellow card. Put a whole new concept in the game. If you threw one-on-one, you go, oh, I might try one here. Here's Moore looking for James with that long ball that Steve Forshall just talked about. We're watching Bar TV Sports. Live coverage from McKellar Park here. 6 minutes to half-time. Belconnen United 0, Tigers FC 0. Been an interesting game. Not a huge amount of goal-mouth action, but it's been a bit feisty in parts. Shields has got goal side here off the throw. Looks for the runner inside, who was Abbott, but that's well read by Gerbischer. And out it comes.
It's just young Lilo Maz's looking for Tonini then. The ball was played to him. It was a decent piece of possession from Gerbischer, but Mars is just looking over his shoulder at the defender coming in.
Yeah, he's let him know he's there, and I think it's preying on the youngster's mind at the moment. Here's Tonini. Marzi looking to line him up on this occasion, and Reinhardt comes to help him out. That's a thumping challenge from Reinhardt, who then sends it forward, looking for the runner. Ugrinik was caught late and gets a free kick just inside the Kuma Tigers half. Cam Reinhardt showing all his quality there to win that ball. Very underrated, I think, Cam Reinhardt. He's been one of the best players in this Premier League for a number of years. Goes under the radar a little bit, being a defender, doesn't get all the glory of the forwards.
I think that's right. I think he's been one of Belconnen's most consistent performances. At left back, he gets into great positions to cross, he gets into goal-scoring positions, and defensively he does a great job.
Mukewski to Mabry, who continued his forward run. Now Wells pops it into the area towards Ugrinik. Beaton, I think that is, chipping the ball over the top. And it's just...
It's Mukewski.
Oh, Mukewski rather, sorry, yep. And they've lost possession there. It was a fairly aimless ball by Mukewski. And that's a fairly aimless ball by Tonini, which is picked out of the air by Gerbischer. Just opens his legs and strides forward, and he's got a good lengthening stride on him when he gets up there. Looks to bring others into play. Wells is in possession. Left-footed, sweeps it over the head of Moore, but it was picked off by Tonini. Spazeski tried to bring it away, but it's going to fall on that far-hand side again for Wells. And the shot is from distance, and it's going to dip down, straight down the throat of the goalkeeper. That was Ugrinik, who tried his luck from a long way out. Never really troubled young Jack Miller, who came on in the 12th minute of the match for Francois Bangueni. Thumps that one forward, looking for the run of Shields, but Gerbischer's got that one covered, and now here's Mabry. Wells has come deep to collect. Mabry's getting a lot of joy on that right-hand flank at the moment, advancing forward. Fair bit of room for him to work with. Wells comes inside, gets it back again, and then clips one over the top, and the run is in the middle from Marzi, who got there ahead of his marker, but Miller's going to come and collect that one. Unlucky that from Belconnen.
Much better football. Patient and then penetrate. Going to get a lot more joy doing that than rather than being too direct.
This is the run of James. If he brings this down, there's trouble, and James has got away from Clements. He's got two on the far post. One of them's Abbott and one of them was Shields, but Matt Gerbischer read that one superbly well and came across, and he had to make the challenge, Steve, otherwise it was two free players looking for a tap-in. Yeah,
Clements just overselling himself there a little bit, and James good enough to take advantage of it. If he had a better second touch, they were in. Yeah,
second touch was rather heavy, and he invited the challenge from Gerbischer, and he made his mind up, the central defender, to come across and put the challenge in. As we come into the shadows at the end of the first half, there's going to be a fair amount of stoppage time. I think that we had a lengthy break twice for Keita and once for Bangueni, so I wouldn't be surprised if we're looking at probably 5 or 6 minutes. Here's Jozefowski.
Yeah, Thomas James was down for a little while as well, so I think you 5 or 6 minutes at least.
That's Mukewski, and he's got a free kick for a foul by Goran Jozefowski.
I think Belconnen have got to commit one of the back four into midfield and create the overload. I think that's a good tactic. We saw Gerbischer make a strong run into midfield, and it created opportunities for him. I think that's a great tactic.
This is a terrific run on the wing there by Ugrinik, who's getting into the area. Real chance if he can pull that back, and Fabrizio was completely unmarked on the 6-yard box, but Miller cut it out, and he had to. And here come the Tigers with a bot. Rides his luck in the first instance and getting past Marzi, and then sends that one forward looking for James. The bounce almost eluded Gerbischer, but he managed to get it under control. Here's Ugrinik, again looking for the run of Fabrizio. Again it hits a Belconnen defender, attacker rather, and the bot comes to collect. James, Haradimos, back to Spaseski, and he finds Nicoletti. They're trying to suck Belconnen out here, Steve, aren't they, and use the pace of the front three as soon as they can.
Yeah.
It's worked for them on a couple of occasions.
Yeah, Belconnen try and defend with a very high line and as a normal practice, and this is where you can get caught.
And that's beautiful football between James and Abbott can swing this one into the penalty area. Shields is arriving, but out comes Durack and clutches it off the head of the striker. But once again, Tigers showing good inventiveness in the final third. Remember, they need a win today. A draw is probably not good enough for them, so they're going to throw some bodies into this. Here's Ugrinik. Now Beaton. McKeskey swings that one towards Reinhardt, and James has got the pace to get back to Cam Reinhardt, who runs that one out of play. Looking at the bench for Tigers, Steve, if they need a goal, they've got Matt Purcell, Ben Townsley, and Costa Fallas, who's actually a goalkeeper with an outfield player shirt on. They are seriously short of numbers. You think if they need to get it done, it's the 11 out here, they've got to get it done.
On paper, that's the way it would seem. Ben Townsley is a young midfielder with a lot of potential. I don't know a lot about Matt Purcell, but Costa Fallas isn't going to pose too many of the goals, although he did get 2 in the under-20
He did
game.
score twice in the under-20s, a substitute goalkeeper playing a whole game as a centre forward. They're that short of bodies at Tigers at the moment. Here's Reinhardt. Wells have got his bit of space. Thought he might lighten that one up. Instead, he finds Marzi. Fizzes that one across the face of the goal, and that was a decent ball in. James finds Shields back around the corner towards James, but across comes Beaton. Does well the midfielder. Here's Marzi, goal side of his marker. Moore's come across though, and he's a strong presence to get in the way. And that's Haradimos. Now Jozefowski clips it up the line, and well won there by Clements. We're going to get a free kick, I think, for a push. I think Reinhardt maybe shoved James off the ball. We are into the first half stoppage time. Don't know how many minutes of it we have, so we'll see how we go. Here's James. Has to go all the way back towards his own goal, back towards Miller. Just sends that one forward. Shields is looking to win that in the air against Reinhardt, but he can't get a touch. They've looked for Shields a lot in the air today, haven't they? And he's the kind of striker who'd rather have it to his feet, for sure.
Yeah, I think, you know, like I was saying before, the tactic appears to be, let's get it forward as soon as we can and see if we can get in behind Belconnen.
Fabrizio throws himself to the floor after getting knocked by Moore. Make sure the referee knows that. Definite free kick. Reinhardt swings that one across to Maybury. As we've said, Tigers happy to put everyone behind the ball except for James and Shields and hit on the break, making it difficult for Belconnen to break them down. McKeskey. Almost a good-looking ball through towards Ugrinik. And here's Abbott, and away they come. It's Peeney who's going to bring it forward. Looking for James. If he rides the challenge here of Reinhardt, he's got a bit of space, but Clements is coming across to deny him any room forward. So he has to come back to Tonini. James again. And thumps that one back towards Miller. Tigers fans wanted him to go forward, but I don't think there was many options for him there.
It's a difficult situation, isn't it? When James is on the ball, he can't play forward because they want his pace to be on the other end of the ball.
Chance for Belko as Ugrinik gets into the air, pulls it back towards Fabrizio, misses his kick. And in the end, it's just going to come back out again to McKeskey. Now beaten. Here's Reinhardt with a bit of space in which to move. He might try and chip one towards the area, and it's nodded up in the air twice. And that's a dangerous ball. And the snapshot comes in from Marzi, but he didn't get a hold of it. And it's going to fall out of play for a throw-in. Belconnen putting the pressure on. Beaten. Wells. Beaten again. That one's deflected twice. And out goes Miller to win the foot race. Bowls that one out towards Abbott, up towards the halfway line, but reading that well was Gerbischer. And Belconnen happy to keep the ball, looking for an option in midfield, and wins a free kick.
Yeah, I think Belconnen are better off just being a little bit more patient when they're in possession, particularly in and around that final third. The chances will come, but they need to be able to be a little more composed when they're on the ball.
Here's Maybury. Ugrinik finds Fabrizio. Dancing with the ball, Fabrizio. Good little ball in towards Marzi, but Haradimos got a toe in, concedes a corner. Can't be much more left of this first half. This will be a great time for Belconnen to take the lead.
Yeah, that'll change the half-time talks if we can score here.
Belconnen will not flood too many forward. They've left 4 or 5 shirts outside the area, so not over-committing on this one. bit wary of the pace on the break.
Yeah, I think that's the threat of Jones.
As it comes in and the header's towards goal and it's away. Fabrizio, I think, got a piece of it, but not quite as much as he would have liked, and in the end it just flashed past the post.
Bit unlucky. I mean, one young player's attacking the ball like that, and it was a good header.
Just a little bit too high for him. Jozabowski, got to be careful. And referee Gareth Biggs says that's enough for the first half, Steve. Well, it's been an interesting half. Not lacking in action in certain areas of the field, lacking in a little bit of goalmouth action. But at the half-time, who do you think will be the better pleased?
I think Tigers, because they're still in the game. I think Belconnen started the game better. Tigers have grown into it a little bit. I mean, it was a game that was littered with stoppages at the beginning, and as a result, you didn't get the sort of fluency either team would be looking for. Belconnen have been slightly the better side, but I think Tigers will be happy just to still be in the game.
It'll be interesting to see whether those early changes, they're forced to make the 2 substitutions in the first 22 minutes, will have any effect towards the end of the game if players get a bit tired. Looking at that respect, we didn't talk about the Belconnen bench, we hadn't had a chance to, but they've got Michael Tarazi, Nicholas Dahl, Phil Bourgeot and Adam Glazer. A couple of forwards on there as well, so you think there's probably on paper a bit stronger Belconnen bench?
There's a lot of depth on that bench, and I think certainly in Michael Tarazi they've got a proven goal scorer, and he makes a big difference to the team when he plays.
Well, it's half-time here on Bar TV Sports, live from McKellar Park in Belconnen. PS4 MPL, big match for both teams, but neither side can find a breakthrough in the first half, and we'll go into the break all square at Belconnen United 0, Tigers FC 0.
should sing. Hey, I'm the red one.
Welcome back to Michaela Park for the second half of this PS4 NPL match. The team's coming out onto the field of play. We didn't have a lot to talk about before the game, Steve, because we were unceremoniously cut off before the kickoff. Was going to talk about the league table and where they stand, and at the moment, with Gungahlin winning with go up to 29 points today, into that looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th place. Tuggeranong on 26 played tomorrow against Olympic, and Tigers at the moment with this point are on 25. Next week, Tigers play Woden at home. Gungahlin go home to Canberra FC, and Tuggeranong go to Monero. So tough games for two of those sides, and even Monero picked up a point today and are looking better now the season's coming to a close.
I suppose they'd be really pleased that they've got the second point. It's been a disappointing season for Monero. I don't think a point's going to be enough for the Tigers, is it? They'll need to win today to actually stay in touch. Gungahlin have done themselves a favour today by a good win in the Riverina, who are a different prospect when they're at home. Tuggeranong need to get something out of the game against Olympic, so there's plenty to play for across the weekend.
And Tigers come into this with not much form. They've won 2 of their last 7, and they lost 5-1 to Canberra FC last week. And Belconnen, though, by contrast, 3 wins in a row and won 5 of the last 6. So they're in a bit of form. And in Jason Ugrinnick, they have the second top goal scorer in the league with 20 goals. Dustin Wells has 6 goals to his name. But in saying that, we talked about Nicholas Abbott, Thomas James, 12 goals apiece as well. It's not been the greatest of seasons for Mark Shields in terms of goals. He's only picked up 4. But, there's goal threats in both sides. So I'd be surprised if this ends 0-0.
Yes, so would I. I think that, as you say, there are plenty of goal threats on the park, and we'll see goals in the second half, I'm sure.
Well, we're underway. No change to the side, so we'll just let you know. Belconnen, Durack in goal, Mabry, Gerbischer, Clements, Reinhardt across the back, Beaton in the holding role, Mukeski and Wells in front of him, Ugrinnick, Fabrizio and Marzi, the front 3. Tigers have Miller in goal. He came on for Bangweni in the 12th minute. Tanini, Moore, Spazeski and Pini, the back 4. Midfield 3 is now Haradimos Nicoletti, who replaced Kita after 22 minutes, and Jozefowski, Abbott, James and Shields in their front 3. This is Pini running forward on the left-hand side, looking to take on Mabry, who wins the ball, knocks it back to Durack. Shields will go looking just in case. Mabry, Gerbischer, space for Clements, and he'll continue the ball across the back 4, and it ends up with Reinhardt. Wells, I'd like to get him involved a bit more in more threatening positions, I think.
Yeah, he's made a great run forward here.
And Reinhardt's looked for him, and he's found him as well. Wells bounces off the challenge, and it didn't fall for him, but it was a great run forward from Dustin Wells, and no one picked him up. And Tigers need to be wary of that one, and there's a huge amount of space here for Abbott on this near side. He's looking for the runner Shields, who checked his run because he had moved into an offside position, and in the end it'll roll through harmlessly to Durack, who gets the attack back underway with Reinhardt. Now Fabrizio was lively in that first half. His touch lets him down there, though.
Real opportunity for Belconnen here with Jason Ugrinnick hugging this touchline on the grandstand side, that if they can get a switch of play in, they'll get Jason in behind the back 4.
Beaton might look for that ball now. Instead he tried to go short to Mukeski, and it's been picked off by James, who started the second half a little deeper than he did the first, and he's still advancing forward. James has overdone it on that occasion, and Reinhardt's won it, and there's a huge amount of space for Ugrinnick, who's going to run into it. Jason Ugrinnick's bearing down on goal, chance to shoot perhaps, cuts onto his left foot, and the chance goes begging. And I think looking back, like you said, he's not running as freely as he would when he's chasing after that ball as well, and perhaps didn't fancy it on the left. Tried to cut back onto it, didn't he, actually? He didn't fancy it on the right, rather.
He's naturally left-footed. So he'll try and get it onto his left foot to finish. That was a good ball, a great run. A little bit more positivity from Jason. They might have just had a shot on target.
Well, and a warning perhaps for Aidan Peeney here at the left fullback for the Tigers to not go advancing too far, because it looks like Ugrinnick's been told not to come with him. The midfield will pick that up, and you can just pick off the space that he leaves behind. Here's Nicoletti. Looked tidy since he's come on for Kita in the middle of the park.
Yeah, he's done really well. Been busy, been efficient, been effective.
Himself and Haradimos probably not the likely choice in the middle of the field for the Tigers at the start of the season, but they're doing very, very well. Press ganged into that by the number of injuries that they've got.
Absolutely, and I think, you know, you look at the loss of... I'll just leave that with you, Russ.
There's a raking ball into space for Marzi. Looks to take on Tonini. That's been one of those battles that we've enjoyed, but this time he's overrun it. It's up for a goal kick.
Yeah, I think if you looked at, you know, if you put somebody like a Daniel Barrett into this team and they pose an even greater threat, and you look at some of the other players that are missing, Tigers could, if they were to scrape into the four, be very, very competitive.
You wonder where you put Balach. You'd have to change the formation up front, wouldn't you, with these three, unless you're playing with four attackers. Yeah. Tigers have always been known of an attacking side. They've not been much of a defensive side in the past, have they?
No, they tend to play in two lines, you know, a front five and a back five.
Here's Ugrinik. Brings it down now well and gets away from Abbott, but then runs into Goran Jozefovski, who's seen it all before, and Abbott can bring it away, but his pass is rather rushed, and Gerbischer easily picks him off and advances back up the other end of the field, and again in turn a little foot in from Haradimos, finds Shields. Abbott, James, but maybe slid in to win that and gets away from James. Plays a little 1-2 with Ugrinik and gives him it back after he's upended. Then you thought he might call a free kick there, Gareth Biggs, against or for Maybury, but decided against it. Pini, Jozefovski, silky turn from Jozefovski, all right-footed, and then slips it through for Shields, but Clements has got that one covered, and we'll just run this one out of play.
Yeah, all a little bit predictable. Then if they could get second runners coming into the 9 position, then they might have a better option.
Well, Durack goes short with the goal kick, and half of McKellar to run into from Reinhardt. Not threatened by the plover today. He's not been down there, has he, the plover?
No, he was here earlier on. He might have had past his bedtime.
He was here all day Wednesday, causing all sorts of trouble at half-time in the Women's Fed Cup final. Ugrinik's checked his run and was in there for a moment. So neither side able to find a way through. 6 minutes of the second half gone, live on Bar TV Sports. Belconnen 0, Tigers FC 0. Expected goals beforehand, still think we're going to get some. Shields is beaten to it by Gerbischer, who is called for a foul. 50-50, that one could have gone either way. Shields made it back and Gerbischer went over the top of it. Yeah. So
I actually thought it was a great lead by Matty. And
that's a free kick. Maybe he's pulled back his marker there. Pulled back James and gets himself a yellow card. The third Blue Devils player to pick up a yellow card this evening, alongside Marzi and Fabrizio in the first half. Probably a good little pullback from maybe from a Belconnen point of view, because James was away from him there for a moment.
Yeah, and I think Matty Gerbischer had switched off temporarily there.
Now this is interesting, Steve. It's a position you think he might clip it in towards the far post for a header, but I've seen Thomas James shoot from these angles, go over the wall into that near post, and he's got a vicious whip on these free kicks, the English striker, and we know he's a goal threat, so let's see what he can do. Will he look for a chip, or will he go for goal?
He scored from this range against...
There it was.
Yeah, when he was playing for Canberra FC earlier this season, he scored from there, right about that same spot.
Well, that's exactly the free kick we were talking about. He didn't get it right on that occasion, but he does whip it over that, cuts across the ball really, or swings his foot around it and gets it over that wall, and it dips down, and just as I said that, the plover's back on the far side. I can see him swooping a couple of people. Obviously watching the game on Bar TV Sports. Got a mention.
Yeah.
Thought he'd come out. Jurek smacks it forward. Lots of space for Abbott. He's a clever player, Nicholas Abbott, and he finds himself a lot of space in areas where there normally isn't any, and as I say that, he gives the ball away, and it's a chance for Beaton to try and find Ugrinik, and then the run of Fabrizio. But defensively, the Tigers have seen that one off a couple of times today.
I think we're going to see the introduction of Michael Tarazi, and he can make a difference.
Yeah, very experienced goal scorer. Interesting to see who makes way from him. Maybe young Marzi.
It could be even Jason Ugrinik if he is struggling with that knee injury. But Marzi's been quiet second half, hasn't done a lot, and maybe Tonini's just got the better of him.
Here's Maybury. Wells swings that in. Chance for Fabrizio, almost I thought it was going to come for him, but there's good defending. It's dropped for Beaton. Now Reinhardt just eases it wide to Marzi. Looks to flick it into the area, but Tigers are going to get rid of it. Beaton might line this one up, and he does drive it goalwards, but it's always going to not pick up pace off the floor, and Miller gets it. It'd be a big call, though, when you're looking for a goal, to take off a guy that scored 20 for you this season. Even if he is struggling a little bit.
Yeah, it's certainly it'll not be because he's because of form. It'll be because of injury if he does swap Joe. But we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, we like to have a speculative think about what's going to happen.
Yeah,
we're all managers up here, aren't we? It's easy from where we are.
Oh, you'd never make a mistake from up here. Yeah. But I think,
speaking of managers, Steve Forshaw, congratulations on Belconnen United under-18s claiming the minor premiership today, or the premiers, or league champions. What are we calling them now? League champions I'd prefer.
Well, I prefer league champions.
Yeah, let's go league champions then. Yeah, I don't like this minor premier stuff. There's nothing minor about winning a title, is there?
I mean, I said to the boys after the game, the first past the post is a real achievement. But the boys did really well. They've worked hard all season. And it is young Leo that's going off.
Yeah, Marzi makes way for Tarazi. And
that'll mean a slight reshuffle up front with Fabrizio going wide and Tarazi through the middle.
Yeah, that's not any slight on Daniel Fabrizio, just that he's probably got a little bit more pace and movement about him than Tarazi, who's more of a natural target, and we know he's very mobile and he can score goals though, so we'll be looking forward to seeing him get on the ball. And Fabrizio might cause Tonini some problems. No let up for Tonini out on that side, because Fabrizio probably a more physical player than Marzi.
Well, I think he'll offer a more physical challenge, yes, I think that's correct.
And probably just as quick. So, good shift from Leo Marzi though. Young player making his way in the game. And
yeah, he'll be disappointed that he's had to come off, but he's had a season where he's really broken through into the first grade of Belconnen, and he has acquitted himself really well.
He's trudging rather forlornly behind the goal to our right, taking his time to get back to the bench. I think he's a bit disappointed, of course, but what player that wants to come off, you don't really want those kind of players in your team, do you?
Absolutely.
It's a chance for Nicoletti on the area, and it's bounced away, and it's going to drop for James. This is dangerous shooting chance perhaps for Thomas James, still bouncing around the area, but in the end he took too long, dawdled on the ball, and the Blue Devils got back to take it off him now. Ugrinic looks to bring it forward for them. The home team looking for a breakthrough. Fabrizio, the first chance we've seen him on the wide flanks this evening, taking on Tonini and Haradimos, and still going in midfield, sliding it forward for Tarazi. First touch for the striker. Slightly heavy, goes back to Reinhardt. Going to get a second opportunity though. Out on the flank, and just well to drop the shoulder and get it towards the penalty area, but there's no movement for him. So he has to go back again. And in the end he's robbed. And forward come the Tigers with Jozefowski.
Yeah.
Oops, and Nicoletti's trodden on it in the middle of the park. Abbott comes to pick up. Very impressed by Abbott. Put his teammates into a bit of strife there, and this is like schoolyard football for a second. Everyone's just swinging at it. In the end, it's the Tigers with Jozefowski who can come away. Now Pini, Mabry puts a foot in. Pini again. And Abbott, space for Abbott. Runners ahead of him. One of them shields, the other one's Jozefowski, but that's well read by Gerbischer. Mabry. Abbott comes across, and Mabry goes past, and this is going to be a thumping challenge. Feet up there from Mabry for a second. And here's a chance for Ugrinic, and he's not going to be able to stretch away there, and it's back to the keeper. And lucky boys at Mabry that he got something on that, having been carded just a moment ago.
Yeah, it was a risky challenge, to say the least.
But James playing left back, which is unusual. Winning the ball, Pini. McKeskey too strong, now Beaton. Bit of space for Taylor Beaton perhaps, but he can't pick the pass, and away come Tigers. A bit lucky from Jozefowski. Shields looking for a flick, and at the second attempt finds James. Clements comes, has a little nibble. Here's Abbott, chance out wide, great dummy from Abbott. Here's an opportunity for him to advance forward. Slides it into the path of Nicoletti's, forced him a little wide, and he couldn't get the purchase he wanted on the ball to cut it back towards Nicholas Abbott, and that was a bit of a waste from the Tigers, who looked threatening for a second there. Beaton. We're back to that basketball game again, Steve, where it's going from one end to the other. There's no real midfield to speak of.
There's just so much space in the middle of the park that people can have a bad touch and get away with it.
Well, there's something going on down here. Alex McConaughey is calling Gareth Biggs' attention to something that was possibly said off the ball. Be interesting to see what happens here. There's card coming out for someone on the bench. And it looks like it's Francois Bangueni, the goalkeeper, who came off after 12 minutes. Got himself a yellow card for obviously disagreeing with the official's decision, I think we'll say.
Not injured enough to stop him making a dissentful comment.
Obviously didn't injure his mouth, just his stomach, unfortunately. Francois Bangueni, one of the characters of the game in Canberra. He's been known to say a few things over the years. Here's Fabrizio. Tonini's gone across to challenge him. He's walked away from the bench at the moment. Maybe Gabby Wilkes sent him away from it before he gets sent off.
Every possibility.
Yeah. We were just saying, Steve, though, go back to it, your under-18s, good win today, 1-0, 4 minutes from time. Your boys stuck the winning goal in and claimed the championship as well. Must be very proud of those group of lads.
Absolutely. Couldn't be more proud, to tell you the truth. The game today could have gone either way, because Tigers, who were playing, will finish second, had as many chances as we did and played very well themselves. And we've got the lucky break in the last few minutes to win the game.
Well, I'm sure you might see them again before the end of the season as finals football looms. Here's James looking to make sure that Tigers senior team get into finals football. Who scored your winning goal, Steve? Give him a shout out.
Yeah, Liam Ray got the winner today from a through ball from Harry Sabasic.
It's always a team game, but as a striker myself, mate, I like to know who scores the goals. Yeah. But congratulations to the Belco under-18s, and congratulations to all the teams around Canberra that have claimed league championships this weekend and over the past weekends and in the next couple of weekends.
Been a big week for the club because the girls won the Federation Cup during the week as well.
Yeah, I just heard today that ANU were crowned Capital League champions today as well. And I think Tuggeranong United's under-13s were NPL 13 champions as well. So that's a couple that I know of. I'm sure if we can pick up a few more, we'll have a chat about them next week. But congratulations to all those teams. And back in the men's senior level, we're waiting for a goal. We've had 15 minutes of the second half. Still 0-0 here, live on Bar TV Sports. I'm Russ Gibbs, your commentator. Steve Forshaw, that is, with me, the under-18 coach at Belconnen United. So he has got a bit of a Blue Devil hat on for this one, but promise me he's not going to be too biased. Here's Abbott, looking for the run of Shields, but he's overhit it, and Durak's going to come and collect that. Finn Durak's done well this season, hasn't he, as a young goalkeeper?
Finn's been exceptional. He's had a couple of dodgy moments since he came into the first team, but by and large he's been a really good contributor to the cause.
As at the other end, Jack Miller, another good young goalkeeper as well. So two good youngsters on the fields at the moment. Here's Tigers looking for a way through. Wells going across. You'd probably say that Belconnen looked the more structured side, but if Tigers were going to score, you wouldn't say it's not been coming, have you? They've had chances on the break.
Yeah, that's right, and it is on the break. Belconnen need to be really concentrating at a very high level, as they might just get caught out.
Well, he's beaten. Bit of space for Ugrinnik, but he's not going to get there, and that's well read by Peeney, and there's loads of room for Peeney if James can find him with the return pass. Here he is. Maybury, Gerbisher slips, but Clements tidies up for him, and that's where that partnership works so well. The experience of Matty Gerbisher, the pace of Isaac Clements. But just for a moment again there, Tigers look dangerous. They just need one of these to come off, and they're right back in the shout for this top four spot. Meanwhile, they'll be leaving gaps, I would have thought, at the other end, and Zach Maybury is marauding forward, looking to take advantage of that. Here's Ugrinnik, looking to take on Tonini, who's come across to this near side, still going. In fact, sorry, there was Spaseski he's nipped past there, the central defender. Clearly not 100%, is he, Jason Ugrinnik? Because normally he would have chipped away. And we're going to see Costa Fallas here, the reserve goalkeeper, if you like. This corner's going to come over. I'll tell you about that in just a second. It's swung in towards the far post, but it's headed back across goal and it's punched away. I think Miller got a fist on that to just push it away from danger, and the clearance was completed, and James has been caught by McKeskey. He's not impressed, but Belconnen attack with Ugrinnik, cuts onto that left foot, looks to slide it through, and Miller has to be alert to come and get and collect. Costa Fallas is about to come on. Like I said, he's a reserve goalkeeper, third choice goalkeeper at the club. He's a goalkeeper coach. Played in the under-20s today as an auxiliary striker and scored twice, and that's a foul and a yellow card surely for Isaac Clements. Gareth Biggs is going to come across and tell him to calm down. Lucky boy Isaac Clements. Possibly thought that should have been a card myself.
Yeah, it was certainly cardable.
Well, Fallas is coming on for James. This is going to be a big blow for Belconnen United. This is not what they were one. He's looked the most likely for them, hasn't he? But, you know, it's a funny game. What chance is Fallas coming off and getting a goal?
Well, if you're a betting man, you wouldn't back it, but you never know in football.
Well, I imagine he's going to be full of enthusiasm. I'm not sure he's ever played first-grade football as a striker. Correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody knows, but I'm pretty certain that I've seen him play first grade as a goalkeeper. I've seen him play lower grade on the field, as I said, as a striker, but never as a leading number 9. Slight change of formation, you'd think, here, maybe. Looks like they've gone with Abbott and Nicoletti wide now, and here's a chance for Fallas. The first time we're going to see him, and he's running into the area, and that could have been handball, perhaps. Big shout there for handball off of Maybury.
I think it hit his hand, but it was ball to hand rather than the other way around.
Well, the hand was away from the body, it looked like, from here, but they've got away with that one. Here's a chance for Tarazi, and it's out for a throw-in. So,
I mean, it's up to the Tigers how they conduct the business, but surely there's a young boy in the 18s or the 20s that could have come on instead of a reserve goalkeeper.
Yeah, who knows? I don't really know the ins and outs of their striking situation at the lower grade levels, but you would have thought that possibly could be the case. And that's not a pretty foul. Fabrizio tends to, I want to say, milk them a little bit. He lets the referee know that he's been fouled, doesn't he? He's got that Italian temperament, I guess.
You don't lose. You're not left in any doubt, are you?
No, there's definitely a yellow card. That one, and well, there's a card that's come out. And I'm guessing that was for Tigers player, or was that Dustin Wells
I'm
for
not sure. Yeah,
dissent?
I'm not sure.
Wasn't clear from where we are. You'd imagine it was for the tackle. I would hope so.
Yeah, well, I mean, he didn't book Clements, and he may well have gone the other way with this one. And if Dustin said something, it might be him that goes in the book. But from here, I couldn't tell.
Couldn't really tell, but I guess we'll see later on. Now, Wells is lining this one up. Seen him strike some really good free kicks in the past. We mentioned him in the first half, and then it was not one of his best, but wouldn't be surprised if he pops a goal from here. He's got a vicious striking free kick. He swings that one in. It's going to cause some problems. It's headed up into the air. It might fall for Maybury, I think that was. And Wells drills it goalward, and it's bounced off of Nicoletti, and that's a decent touch from Fallas, I think that was. She brought that down really, really well. Great touch from the keeper.
I don't know whether it was Fallas or Ronaldo.
Just killed it, didn't he, out of the air? Just superbly brought down by Fallas. Stunned us for a minute. I thought it might have been Shields. You'd expect that from Mark Shields, wouldn't you, to pull that one down, but not from Costa Fallas. We take it all back. Maybe he is a striker.
Yeah, he might make us eat our words.
Yeah. Here's Maybury.
Trazi's movement's very, very good off the ball.
It's clever, isn't it? He pulls the defenders all over the place, and that's causing issues, and he's leaving gaps out wide, and here's one of them. That's asking Cam Reinhardt an awful lot for him to get on the end of that one. He won't be thanking Dustin Wells for that pass.
No, he's no going to make the 70 or 80-yard track back.
And he even got them the ball as well. That was nice of him, wasn't it?
End of season friendliness, isn't it?
It's just like, I'll give you it back if you wait for me to get back into my full-back position, which Jack Miller seems to have done. And he strikes it straight into that position where Cam Reinhardt took up, and he's going to get to take the throw.
He's in everything, isn't he, Reinhardt?
All over the place. Scored a grand final goal, didn't he, a few years back?
Yep.
In a game that Belconnen won at Deakin on a penalty shootout. If I remember rightly, and my memory might be failing me, they were looking like losing that one and scored right at the death, didn't they, to bring it back and send it to extra time and penalties.
Jack Green got the equaliser that day, I think.
Yeah, in stoppage time, I believe, yeah. And at Deakin Stadium in front of Canberra FC, after Josip Jadric, I think it was, it looked like he had given Canberra FC the grand final. Possibility we could see those two teams again in grand final action this year, but Canberra Olympic, of course, are the favourites. Wrapped up the league championship in the week, not in the manner in which they would have hoped.
No, somewhat controversial. The awarding of 3 points on forfeit to the Centre of Excellence, where I'm fairly certain the Centre of Excellence were quite prepared to play the game.
We'll talk about that in just a second. Fabrizio lifts that one in towards Tarazi, who's peeled away from his marker, can't get a head on it, and it's going to fall for Jozefowski. He looks for Abbott, and that's back to Moore. Now Haradimos. Good turn from Nicholas Haradimos, and he bursts forward. And this is the first time we've seen him take anybody on, really, today, and he's certainly full of energy. Back to Pini. Jozefowski loves the drop of the shoulder. Jozefowski into a dangerous position. Just behind Abbott, though, and the slide in was from Mabry. It's shooting chance for Abbott, who drives it a goal, and Durak's behind it to pick it up. Yeah, that prompted a video today I saw from the FFA Centre of Excellence from Peter Daru to explain the situation, that they hadn't forfeited the game and they were more than prepared to play the match.
Yeah, I think the ruling has been...
That's not a pretty challenge.
No.
Not a pretty challenge at all, and that's a yellow card for, is that Spaseski?
Spaseski or more, can't tell.
Can't tell from here. It's too far away. I think it's, is it more? I think it probably is more, isn't it?
Yeah. But the, from what I can gather, the interpretation is that the forfeit occurred when they didn't meet their original scheduling commitments. But that seems a stretch, I've got to say.
Well, according to my notes, Moore's already got a card, so it can't be him. It must have been Spaseski, otherwise he'd have been sent off. Anyway, either way, there's a yellow card and a free kick to Belconnen, and still players still down. Fabrizio's still down, and the physio's coming on now.
Yeah, I think it's probably a bit of a cork in the thigh. It was a fairly...
Yeah, and Brad Moore, if it is Brad Moore, and I think it is, there we go. It's a red card for Brad Moore. He had a yellow card in the first half, according to our notes, and the linesman on this near side, Alex McConaughey, has let Gareth Biggs know that he had, in fact, been on a yellow card, and...
Shades of Australia versus Croatia.
Yeah, well, maybe he needs 3 yellow cards if it was Graham Poll, wouldn't he? So that's unfortunate for Brad Moore. He departs the scene, and a little bit later than he perhaps should have.
I mean, his game hasn't been one that he'd want to remember, I don't think. There won't be too many highlights for him. Good,
though, that Alex McConaughey picked that one up. That would have been a controversial moment if he had stayed on the field.
Absolutely.
Well, that's going to put the momentum squarely in favour of Belconnen, and that's put the Tigers hugely up against it as well. Swings this free kick into the near post, and Jozefowski just pops it away as far as Wells again. Swings it in again, a good ball touched off towards Ugrinik. Now beaten. Mukevski. Mabry. Across comes Fallas and wins the ball well against Zach Mabry, who's back snapping away at Costa Fallas, who skips past a couple of challenges and does really well to find Haradimos, and that's a good ball. And tracking back was Mukevski, and he had to do well there to knock it in the air for Gerbischer to tidy.
One of the stranger twists in a Belconnen camp is that they tend to play badly against 10 men.
And here's Ugrinik, goal side, and he's pulled back, and this won't count either, even though Miller's pushed that one over. You're saying, yeah, they tend to play badly against 10 men.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do. You drop down to the level, don't you, when you play against 10? It's harder to play, they say. One of football's cliches.
If you don't have the sort of guile to break down a mass defence, and that's what usually happens when a team goes down to 10, then it becomes extremely difficult. You have a lot of possession, but you can't do a lot with it.
Well, we've had 27 minutes of the second half. Still no goals here live on Bar TV Sports. Belconnen 0, Tigers FC 0. We were expecting a few. I still think we're going to get some, Steve. I'm confident we're going to get a goal or two.
Hang in there, Russ.
Hanging in there. We got 7 here on Wednesday. Maybe they used them all up. Quota of goals for McKellar Park, maybe. Let's see what they've done in terms of a change. Shields is chasing after this. So Tonini's gone across to central defence alongside Spaseski, and Nicoletti has now dropped into fullback. Here's a run for Tarazi. Mukevski, yeah, you're right there. The movement there's done for me. He's done well, Goran Mukevski.
4-4-1, I think they've switched to. Although Costa Fallas is being asked to drop into a midfield role, and that might just test him.
We'll see what he's got to offer us as a midfielder. We've seen he's looked good, quick feet so far.
He's done very well. Yeah. Take my hat off to him. If it wasn't so cold.
It's a swing towards the far, but Tarazi's got away from his marker, heads it back across, goal! Yeah. And it's looped into the net.
Gerbischer.
It was Matty Gerbischer who's peeled away. Completely unmarked, surprised everybody. Won the header and just looped it back across goal. And the Belconnen United Blue Devils make the breakthrough. In the 28th minute of the second half, it's 1-0.
Yeah, Matty's done well. He's found himself some space and he's got on the end of it, but I think the Tigers might be ruining not having people on the posts from the corner.
Well, it seemed to hang in the air for an age, didn't it? It was a good header. I thought it was Tarazi had peeled away for a moment there because it was such a forwards header just to knock it back across goal. But Matty Gerbish has certainly done well there, and he's headed it back across goal and, yeah, looped in the air for a long time and eventually dropped in the corner, and that has really put the cat amongst the pigeons as far as the Tigers are concerned. They now need to score twice, you would think, to keep hopes of a top 4 finish alive. It wouldn't be dead for them, I don't think, would it? They'd still need... I'll have to have a quick look at the table and do some mental arithmetic. Yes, it would be a trouble for them, wouldn't it? They wouldn't be able to make it. No. Because they could only go to 27 points. Yeah, and that would put them out of it. So they need to score twice now in the last 16 minutes. And that might leave a huge amount of gaps.
Well, the 10 men, they've got a reserve goalkeeper on the park, the 1-0 down. If there was ever an opportunity to actually just go for it, you might as well lose by plenty as lose by 1. So they might as well just go for it.
Nicholas Dahl is coming on now for Daniel Fabrizio, who's worked really hard today.
Again?
Yeah, he's done very well, Daniel Fabrizio.
This may well be a result of the injury he picked up from the foul that resulted in Moore being sent.
Well, we said he was going to cause problems, and he certainly did. It looks like he's got goals in him as well, Fabrizio.
He has indeed. He's a really good prospect, really good prospect.
Makes his way down the tunnel to get an early shower, use up all the hot water for his teammates. That's probably why he got called off. He's got a great hair. Yeah. Got to look after that hair, don't
Absolutely. Get some product in. There's only one consolation of coming off early, and that's you get the shower first.
Absolutely. As with any striker, though, he'd be a bit disappointed he's not scored today. Most strikers want to score in every single game, don't they?
Yeah. But he's worked hard enough. He's put in a good shift.
Well, Tigers need to find something. And if they do, I think it's going to come through Abbott. He's looked most likely. He's all over the pitch for them, to be honest. It's going to fall for Jozefowski. Just lifts it away from Mukewski. Runs it down towards a corner. Back there defending was Ugrinik, but he gave it away. Now here's Haradimos. Goes back to where he's just come from, and interestingly decided to chase it down in that corner. Spaseski looks to get it back, and Mukewski gets in there ahead of Spaseski, and down goes Abbott under the challenge of Tarazi, who's the latest to pick up a yellow card.
My goodness, there's been some cards in this game.
Yeah, I've lost count. I think 1, 2, 3, 4 Belconnen, maybe 5 if Wells got one, and at least 3 for Tigers, 2 of them to Brad Moore. Well, and 1, of course, to Bangweni, who was on the bench, so 9 or 10. Yeah. Just another
doesn't matter
Saturday night's work for a referee at McKellar Park.
Yes. You've got a report to write after this.
Jozefowski lifts it into the penalty area.
Oh.
Fallas looked to volley this goalwards, and all he succeeded in doing is volleying, I think that was Reinhardt in a place where on a night such as this it's not very nice to be kicked.
Absolutely.
I don't think he caught him in the head, did he? It was a little bit lower than that.
Yeah. I mean, he might be singing the club song in falsetto.
Well, Costa Fallas thought he was Pele for a minute, didn't he? Went for that overhead kick. Funnier things have happened. You can imagine him connecting with that, can't you? And pigeoning it top corner.
Well, he sort of rose like Pele and came down like Donald Duck, really.
But he's done really well. I've got to be honest. He's put himself about. That's all they can ask him to do as someone who's in that position. Showed some good feet in the middle of the park.
Yeah, it was an accidental collision. He was trying to do the spectacular, and it hasn't come off. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt.
Well, Steve, with less than 15 minutes to go, though, you think you need Abbott in the further forward, but somehow they need to get him the ball in those areas where he's going to cause problems. He's having to come too deep at the moment to cause any real problems.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, with Mark Shields in the team, he's going to be at the pointy end more often than not. Abbott is got to be deployed in a creative role. But as you know, the last 10 minutes, I think I would be risking going 3 at the back and just sticking 3 up front and see what you can get away with.
Yeah, he's looked dangerous when he's picked the ball up, but in the main it's been 50, 60 metres from goal, and that's not really where they need him.
No.
And that's why Finn Durock's had a reasonably quiet evening, apart from a really good save in the first half from James down low.
Yeah. I mean, since James has gone off and since the send-off, the Tigers' threat has really dissipated. We've got a young spectator lying half on the pitch in the back of the goal there.
The ball boys want to get involved. He's too cold. They need Goran Jozefovski and all his experience right now to try and pull them through. They've been in this situation before. I've seen Kuma on plenty of occasions where they've needed goals in the last 5 or 6 minutes come up with the goods.
Yeah, maybe it's Goran they stick further forward.
But at the moment, he's no real change to formation, and that's a goal kick that's asking a lot for Pini, who's done well. Good turn. Here's Abbott, but Mabry has stuck to him really well. And now here's Ugrinik. Bit of space for him to work into. Can he pick out the right pass? Jason Ugrinik into the penalty area. Change of pace. Real chance this. If he pulls it back, it's behind Tarazi, though, and Goran Jozefovski is back there and uses his experience to clear. He's cut it back behind the substitute. Went anywhere else, it was probably a goal. Here's Reinhardt looking to go forward. They've robbed him of possession as well. And it was Jozefovski again who was involved. Haradimos goes down, wins a free kick.
Yeah, I think Cam can be a little bit more sensible. There's no need for him to be going marauding forward. They're 1-0 up. There's only 10 to go. Just settle down, play a little bit of football from the back.
Spazeski. Inside to Jozefovski. He's going to go back to Miller maybe, or that route has been cut off, so he has to go forward and he's going to lose possession. And Belconnen can break perhaps with Goran Makevski. Ugrinik's made the run for him. Here's Jason Ugrinik. He's got away goal side. Jason Ugrinik slides it goalwards, and it's a good save by Jack Miller. He seemed to go down very early, but he stuck an arm out and the shot lacked huge pace, and Miller pushes it wide for a corner.
Jason would have been looking to get on the score sheet too. He's still close to Steve Dominici in the Golden Boot race.
Yeah, Steve Dominici on 24 goals, I think, in his favour, and not being too disparaging as they play Riverina at home next week. And after Riverina got beat 12-0 the week before last, they seem to be a different side when they travel away.
There's no doubt about it, but it may well be that Olympic don't play the strongest team with the finals in. That's
true. Stephen Dominici's here tonight. I saw him earlier, wrapped up warm. Come down to watch.
Cotton wool.
There's a big blanket he had wrapped around his neck. I think his girlfriend or his partner may have stolen that off him, though. So,
sensible.
Yeah, absolutely. Wish I had a big blanket. It's quite cold up here, isn't it, with the wind howling through the back?
Yeah, it howls through this tunnel.
Belco looking to add to the goal that they scored through Matt Gerbischer's header. The loopy header. And it just struck me as strange, though, Steve, that people don't put players on corners on the post, because you very rarely have everybody from the opposition in the penalty area, so you may as well have someone free marking a post. In on that occasion, you see exactly why.
Yeah, it's a good example of why you do it. But both teams down to 10 at the moment, Russ, with Reinhardt off getting some treatment.
Yeah, he's looking to come back on, just a little bit of strap on the hand. Beaten. Looking to slide it through towards Ugrinik, and well played Aidan Peeney, who's looked pretty solid, I think. The fullback. Not known a lot about Aidan Peeney before today, but he's done a good job there at left back, defensively and adding to the attack. Yeah,
he looks physically strong enough. He's quick enough. He's positioned himself reasonably well. Belconnen have got in behind him a couple of times, but nothing's come of it. So he'll be reasonably happy with his performance.
Well, 9 minutes between Tigers and playoffs oblivion. It looks like they may be on their way out, and we will be down to only 2, or sorry, 3 pushing. Oh no, 2 pushing for that 5.
Well, Tuggeranong
and Gungahlin.
And
Canberra FC still in that position as well. We'll talk full time. We'll have a look at it as well and have a chat about it as well, Steve, before we go home.
Yeah. Well, it'll go down to 5th, won't it? It'll be the 5th team that qualifies in here.
Yeah, because the FFA Centre of Excellence, of course, can't qualify. I saw some of their boys here today as well. Fair few people turning up on a Saturday night here at McKellar Park to watch some PS4 MPL action, and there was a lunging challenge there, and Reinhardt concedes a free kick.
I think Dustin might have caught him from behind. I think they were away if he'd behaved himself a bit.
That's probably why Reinhardt was disappointed, I think.
Yeah.
The free kick is switched to this near side to Peeney. Jozefovski.
Playing too deep, I think.
Yeah, they've got to get him further forward in this last 8 minutes or so. Looking to exchange passes with Peeney. That's better, and goal scorer Gerbischer's just put that one in the car park. No nonsense messing from Matty Gerbischer.
No, there was no doubt where that was going.
Yeah, he's got himself a goal, and now he's looking to protect the 3 points. Abbott. Turned forward by Belconnen. Is out for a throw.
Yeah, Michael Traub, he's coming off at his knee. He didn't make good contact then, but he's a far better proposition at 9 than Daniel Fabrizio. But Fabrizio is worth his place in the team, in that wider role, I think.
Gerbischer again's gone for 40-20, I think that was. He just smashed that down the park. And
yeah, it might still be a little bit early to be shutting up shop altogether.
well, they've only got 3 match balls. If he puts all of them in the car park,
Game
the
stops.
game stops, doesn't it? We're all over.
We should be home by 10.
Throw into the Tigers. Looking for a way back in. Can they find an equaliser? Dahl wins the header. Good off the chest there.
Done really well this season, Nicky Dahl.
Tarazi.
Probably a bit unlucky not to be in the starting 11 today.
There's a big unit, Nicky Dahl,
Yeah.
for a young boy.
Yeah, he's come up through the ranks at Belconnen. He's done really well.
Here's Abbott. Now Pini. Jozefowski, maybe he's on him straight away, and Dahl tries to close off the gap. Fallas gets a touch away from Gerbischer, who sends that one up the line towards Ugrinic. Nice touch off. Here's Dahl. Bit of space, should have gone perhaps to Tarazi, who had heaps of room. Instead, he went to Mikevsky, who sweeps it out towards Dustin Wells, who's advancing into the penalty area. Not many options to pick out. One of them is Ugrinic. It's bounced off Ugrinic and almost into the path of Tarazi, and luckily for Miller, he was on hand to pick it up. Otherwise, that would have been game over, you would think.
Probably a little bit symptomatic of Dustin's season. I mean, years gone by, Dustin in those positions, he's cutting inside and curling it into the far post. Today, last couple of weeks, just looked a little like he lacks confidence in front of goal.
Unusual for a player who scored so many goals for Belconnen. So he's got second top scorer this season with them, with 6 league goals. Not insubstantial for a guy that's playing in a deeper role.
No, but
It's not usual for
no, it's
Dustin,
not
is
for
it?
Dustin. He's usually well into double figures.
We've still got next week in finals.
Oh,
And he's a big game player. We all know that when it comes to push comes to shove, that Dustin Wells is someone you want on your side.
yeah, clever player. I mean, he's probably in the twilight of his career now. I think he's 34 now, Dustin, but he's been a tremendous servant to this club.
Had a taste of the A-League with the New Zealand Knights
Yeah, he
and
did.
Sydney FC.
Yeah. He actually scored for the New Zealand Knights.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Can't be one of a few Canberrans that have scored in the A-League.
Especially for New Zealand.
There wouldn't be many scoring for New Zealand, no.
There's not too many New Zealanders scored for New Zealand.
That's true. Not for the New Zealand Knights, anyway. They
No.
didn't get many goals, did they? The Wellington Phoenix, slightly different kettle of fish.
Yeah,
Beaten. Now Dahl.
good tight play.
Ugrinic. Space here perhaps for Tarazi, but coming across, reading that very well, was Tonini.
He's done well, Tanini. He's had a good game. Reminiscent of his father's work rate.
Haradimos. Back to Miller. He's not had a minute to let up, has he, really, Tonini? He had Marzi running him in the first half, then he switched head Fabrizio, and now, unfortunately for him, he seems to have Dustin Wells down his flank as well, and all 3 of them augmented throughout the game by Cameron Reinhardt on the overlap, so he's had to be on his game throughout the whole 90 minutes, and fair play, he's done a good job over there.
Yeah, I think he'll sleep tonight.
He should do. 4 minutes plus stoppage time for the Tigers to find a way to save their season. Miller, it's at the wrong end of the park for them at the moment. They need to get it forward. They need more from their attacking threats, from Shields, from Abbott.
They've got to commit players forward. What have they got to lose now? They might as well just throw players forward and go for it.
Can they pull off the unthinkable? A couple of late goals, put them right back in it. As it is, Belconnen United pretty much summing up second spot with this one. Won't be done and dusted, but it will be closer than it's been for a long time. With everybody having 1 game left next week, this will put the Belconnen on 34 points.
Centre excellence.
Have a game tomorrow here.
Yeah, and they're a chance to finish in the official second spot. But Belconnen will get the double chance after this win.
Well, the FFA Centre of Excellence tomorrow have a match against Canberra FC at Deakin, and then, of course, these two play each other.
Yeah.
Next week, Belconnen and Centre of Excellence. So, it'll be a shootout for the official second spot. On the finals ladder, it would mean that Belconnen would play Olympic, obviously in round 1.
In the
That
major
one's
semi, yeah.
flicked down towards the near side with Ugrinic, looking to take his man on. Goes past Pini, and that doesn't get past Spaseski, was it?
Yeah.
Who made the challenge. And here's Pini, still full of energy, going forward. The slide-in is from Gerbischer from a long way away. Jozabowski battles with him, and Gerbischer comes out on top and then goes down under the challenge and wins his side a free kick. 2 minutes plus stoppage time to go. It's not looking likely for the Tigers, is it, Steve?
No, it's... I mean, as far as 1-0 results go, this has probably been as comfortable as any.
Yeah, I'm struggling, apart from the James shot that Dirac pushed away in the first half, I'm struggling to think of any chances that they've created. That's, I think, Goran Makevski down with a bit of cramp.
Yeah, I think they
Kostofalis is a physio now, so
Jack of all
done everything.
trades, yeah.
This is, looks like Adam Glazer,
Yeah.
the American who's going to get a couple of minutes here from Washington, D.C. Spent a bit of time in Chicago, they tell me. Recommended to the club by Pete Marlett, who was a player, I think, for Woden Valley a few years ago. Came over here, played one of the several Americans that came over here. Derek Ullman was another.
Yes.
Derek Ullman, I believe, the last player to score 30-plus goals in a Premier League season in Canberra.
Right?
Yeah, I believe so. And Stephen Dominici chasing that down. That was in the 3-round season, of course, when we had 3 rounds here,
Yes,
so that explains why he scored so many goals over the course of 26 matches or so.
And Adam Glazer, like Derek, started a little bit slowly at Belconnen, but you know, if he can find the sort of form that Ullman found for Woden as his season progressed, then Belconnen will have a little gem.
It's good to have another option up front as a forward player, and he's going to get a few minutes, you'd think, to show what he can do. A couple of minutes at least, and then a bit of stoppage time. If there's anybody watching in the States that family or friends of Adam, be pleased to see him get a run.
He's that's Tarazi coming off, must have got injured.
Yeah, there must be something wrong with Michael Tarazi, and that's not good to see, because Michael Tarazi has been plagued by injury over the last few years, hasn't he? It's been a real unfortunate for the boy.
Yeah, I don't think he can remember the last time he played a full season.
Yeah, he'll be really, really annoyed. Now, what's happening here? We're looking like
Glazer's on.
Glazer's gone to midfield, and Makevski's pushed a bit further forward. Seem to have swapped positions for a second.
From what I've seen of Glazer, he's very quick and packs a really good shot.
Dahl wins it.
Probably more comfortable playing as a 9, I think.
Okay, well, he's going to have to play a little bit deeper unless he goes forwards. Makevski's pulled rank on him, maybe. Here's Glazer, here's his first touch, and he's battling with Abbott.
I think with Goran's cramp, he's probably going to play a bit further forward.
Well, here is Glazer. I thought we were going to get to see him get a shot away, and Tigers go quickly. We're into stoppage time. That's a free kick and a yellow card for Goran Makevski. Another one in the book, and that's a red for Goran Makevski as well. No, I don't think... I haven't got Goran down as a yellow card. I'm not sure.
Maybe it was Goran that got booked when we thought Dustin.
Yeah, I'm confused. I think he's pulled that one up. I think he's got that wrong. I think Dusty got the card earlier, so that's been taken back. That one's been reviewed by us up here in the technical box. Alex McConaughey pulled that one up straight away. He knew straight away, and poor Gareth Biggs got himself a bit confused there. It's all these beards they're sporting these days, isn't it?
He's just forgotten how many cards he's given out.
Yeah, he's forgotten. Anyway, so there's a reprieve for Makevski, who's only got 1 yellow card. I don't think he can get sent off for that anymore. Maybe he fouled him twice. Here's Haradimos. Beautiful skill from Nicholas Haradimos. Now, bit of room for Pini. Across goes Gerbischer, but he was beaten to it. Maybe wins a tackle, and that's a free kick. And there's a little flashpoint here. Pini's had a go at Mabry, and Zach Mabry's no shrinking violet. And he's quite happy to have a bit of push and shove, if you want to get involved in that. It's always been one of the spark points, isn't it, for Zach Mabry? Great defender, but he's quite easily wound up on occasions.
Yes, a case of handbags there.
Nothing in it whatsoever at this stage of the game. We can't barely have seconds to go, and Belconnen lead 1-0, and they look like they're going to get the points that they need. It's been thumped forward looking for the run of Glazer, but it was won in the air by Pini Abbott, who's worked tirelessly to try and get his team back in it. He's probably been the best of the Tigers bunch today, but he's conceded a free kick and an opportunity perhaps for Belconnen to kill this one. They might just go in the corner and decide that's enough.
Abbott's been good. Thomas James was threatening when he was on. We haven't seen a lot of Mark Shields.
Not a lot. He hasn't had. They've seemed to have been sending it fairly long to him, like we said to him said to you earlier. It's not his game. He needs it to his feet. as we know. Well, anybody who watches a lot of Canberra football will know, very good with his feet, unable to do anything about it today. Belconnen United take the points in what was a bit of a scrappy match, Steve. It never really hit the heights, but in the end, probably the better team won.
I don't think anybody can have complaints that Belconnen have got the 3 points, but it was a lacklustre performance from both teams. Given there was so much riding on it from the Tigers, you might have expected a little more, but the loss of James and then the sending off really nullified any threat they were going to pose. Belconnen, when they had to suck up and absorb pressure, they were able to do it. They've created a number of opportunities for themselves and eventually have got the one that seals the points with the looping header from Gerbischer from a set piece.
Looking at where the table looks in that situation now, Belconnen have 34 points from their 17 matches. They have 1 match to go. The FFA Centre of Excellence on 32. They have 2 matches to play. They play Deakin, Canberra FC tomorrow at Deakin, and then Belconnen next weekend. Looking down further down, Canberra FC on 30 points. They play, as I said, the FFA tomorrow. Then Gungahlin 29, Tuggeranong 26. Now Tigers 24 out of it, but chance them for tomorrow. Canberra Olympic play Tuggeranong, Canberra FC play the FFA Centre of Excellence. Hard to see beyond a win for Canberra Olympic tomorrow against Tuggeranong, but you know, stranger things have happened there.
I think people would have said the same thing last week when they were playing Gungahlin and they were 3-1 down with 10 minutes to go and Dominici's rescued a point for them. Tuggeranong are in pretty good form and are desperate for the points themselves, so it wouldn't surprise me if Tuggeranong got something out of the game, but I think, you know, if you're thinking with your head and not your heart, Olympic will be too strong if they play their strongest 11.
So if Olympic win tomorrow, which we're expecting, and the FFA Centre of Excellence and Canberra FC toss up that one, we're going to go down to the wire for next weekend. We're going to be going, let's say that Canberra FC have won the game tomorrow. They get it, even if they lose, they're on 30 points. They play Gungahlin next week, which means that if they win there, that will mean that if Tuggeranong can beat Monero Panthers, they should sneak into the 4 on goal difference.
Is that who Tuggeranong play?
Yeah, looking at my list, they've got Monero Panthers away on Saturday, so they'll know at the end of that whether they've got 29 points, the same as Gungahlin. They have a better goal difference than Gungahlin, which would mean that if Canberra FC win or draw against Gungahlin, no, if they win against Gungahlin next week, that will put Tuggeranong into the 4 for the first time in forever, in a long time.
For a long time. And good luck to Sean Murphy. He's done a really good job since he took over down on the south side.
Well, I mentioned that, Steve, because that's our game next week at Gungahlin, enclosed, Gungahlin United versus Canberra FC. Hoping for plenty of action. Today, thanks very much for joining me in the box today. Sorry about our technical glitch at the beginning. In the end, it all came down to a looping header from Matty Gerbischer and the fact that the Tigers had nobody on their posts, one of our bugbears. But in the end, Belconnen United thoroughly deserved their victory. The final score in the PS4 MPL here at McKellar Park was Belconnen United 1, Tigers FC 0.